So this is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and it recently got updated to iOS 26 Beta 2, and they cleaned up the control center a little bit. And this is my Galaxy S25 Ultra running the official One UI 7, not running the One UI 8 Beta just yet on this one, but I want to talk to you about my 9 months later review between these two beastly smartphones, as the replacement to the iPhone is coming soon. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you're going to find out which one really did better over the test of time. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Let's go ahead and do a 9-month reality check between both of these. They've both been incredibly solid. Let's just put it that way. Good battery life on both of them, really good cameras. And the reality of both of these is that it's really going to be down to the ecosystem of which one's really going to make you a happy camper. But only one really shine in certain areas where the others shine in others. Let's begin by talking about everyday wear and tear. Now, I don't have much to speak of in this area. I've had a screen protector on this since the beginning on the iPhone. Not everybody's a fan of screen protectors. I did take a pretty gnarly drop on this phone, hit the pavement, and I'm not exactly sure where it's at, but only sustained a really minor damage. Let me zoom in. You could see just a very minor damage. Getting the focus on the iPhone here. Right there on the corner. Let me see if I can get that more in the focus. There you go. You could see right there. Now, if you're OCD, that's going to just drive you up a wall. But at the same time, you know, that's not too much damage for hitting the pavement. So I'm definitely quite happy with the durability of the iPhone 16 Pro Max. One thing I will say, though, is that the phone itself wasn't too slippery, and you could probably rock this without a case, no major issues, but it might fall out of your hand if you're not used to a large phone. The overall gold look here was quite nice. The desert titanium, definitely quite nice. But you'll see that the cameras do stick off the body of all these modern iPhones. So if you hit them on the right angle, those are definitely cracking. On the whole, it just feels like a tank of a phone. Thick, heavy, big battery life. It's definitely not a super slim, fragile feeling phone whatsoever. So it definitely feels its price tag. Now, the Samsung also employs that same kind of feel, and I have not yet dropped this one in any substantial way. I have dropped it a few times, but nothing where it was going to damage the edges, so it basically looks brand new here. I will say I feel like the camera rings on the Samsung are not quite as nice, though. I feel like they can scratch up quite easily, so if you're into higher quality camera rings, I feel like the Samsungs are not quite as nice. Let me just put it that way. Also, kind of like looking around the phone, you'll see that there's just no major problems so far. So it did really well over this time period. It hasn't been 9 months for this one. This one hasn't been out that long. It's been about 6 for this one, but I'm saying 9 because that's how long I had the 16 Pro Max. You do have yourself the 5G antenna over there where it's hidden the camera control on the iPhone. And the flat edges have helped it maintain an easy grip as well. So if you have a good screen protector or even a skin, this phone also, you're not going to drop it too easily due to those flat edges, so it doesn't just slip out of your hand. So everyday wear and tear, these ones are up to the task. They're some of the most durable premium phones out there, but still at their price tags, they're very high. So I still have been using cases throughout the duration of my usage, but sometimes taking them off. So the battery life now is still very good. Even on the 26 beta here, we are getting pretty good. This is beta 2. We are getting pretty acceptable battery life. Apple fixed the battery life issue with the initial beta right away. The Galaxy S25 Ultra also has been really good throughout my usage. They still kind of have that same feeling they've always had, where the iPhone ticks along slowly. The Galaxy S25 Ultra drops from 100 to 90 very quickly. So I do have to say, if you like really good standby time, you're still going to really like the iPhone. If you like power user battery level, you're really going to love the Samsung as well. So battery life has been a joy on both of them, and it's hard to pick one or the other, but if you wanted to do an actual battery test, the S25 Ultra would probably outlast the iPhone, but it just kind of seems like certain times it's less consistent. So I do find the iPhone very consistent in this area. So battery life is not a problem for either. But one thing I'm a little bit disappointed about with both of these is that they haven't got even better battery life, as in larger, maybe carbon silicon batteries like what we're seeing in the 6,000 milliamp Chinese phones like OnePlus, for example. I would like to see more of those technologies make their way over here, which can make the phones thinner and last longer. So definitely looking for newer battery technology on both of these. They kind of retain similar technology that we've had for years, but they still tend to hold up very well. Now, when it comes to the software, iOS 26 is the big story right now in the media, and you'll see we have the new control center, we have the new clear icons over here, the new design liquid glass. It's pretty cool stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely quite good stuff if you're into a rehaul, if you wanted something that looks very different than before, but also retains the core elements of what you really enjoyed about iOS. But at the end of the day, you know, the ecosystem of products with the iOS experience is going to be better than ever, as it's going to match up super nicely comparatively to some other platforms, like, for example, the Samsung S25 Ultra. I feel like if you're using the S25 Ultra, the Galaxy Watch, you're using the tablet, then all of this goes very well. But once you start going over to a Galaxy Book, then things start to get a little bit fragmented, because you are looking at Windows. I understand most people using Android phones are probably already familiar with Windows, so it might not break their flow too much. But I think the integration of the ecosystem here comparatively to Apple is just not better. It's definitely, for some people, going to be better if you're looking for a tool or utility or more function over seamlessness. But to me, it still takes way more steps to do things. And also, it's definitely going to be a little bit more racking your brain when it comes to all of the things you're going to do on here. Now, some people are going to be used to it and they're going to say that doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you don't really have to know much about what you're doing with an iPhone. Once you pair an Apple Watch, once you pair your, iPad, the account, everything is just so tightly integrated. It's just much easier when it comes to using the entire software experience across the platform. But I gotta say, there's no way I can say that it's better than Samsung when it comes to functionality. The Samsung blows away the iPhone when it comes to functionality, split screen modes, the amount of things you can do. So if you are tech savvy, I don't think you can enjoy an iPhone these days as much. They just don't have enough feature set. They don't have enough things that you want to do on your phone, like split screen, multitasking, DeX. They don't have all this stuff. Also, if you're into customization, even if you get a Galaxy Watch Ultra over here, there's a lot more customization, a lot more watch faces and all that stuff. So the list goes on and on if you're trying to entertain yourself or even use something that really definitely gives you a lot more of a tool. It's like the Swiss Army knife of devices over here. And then you got the S Pen to go along with that. So all these months later, that's what I've been really thinking about this year, is just how Samsung keeps pushing themselves further along in this area of just having more functionality. And then Good Lock got updated for One UI 7, and now it matches up nicely with this as well. This is fun to use as well. So you can't mention the One UI without mentioning the Good Lock, and it's just so extensive. It really is. And I think that does give Samsung quite a bit of value when thinking about should you buy this product. But software wise, I would have to say for most people, I think iOS is still just easier to use, more seamless, integrated. But if you want the best tool out there, it might be the Samsung for you when it comes to software. Now, area of performance, I can't really say that Apple is better here in terms of iOS because they're in beta, so we're not going to mention that too much. But the actual A18 Pro, 8 gigabytes of RAM, this phone has basically flew along pretty much all tasks day to day. So it really hasn't been something that has been holding me back. And the 120 hertz is still smooth, although iOS tends to go for a more visually pleasing effect. Even when you unlock here, it kind of like flies in like that now. You'll see it kind of like flies in there. So they're going for more of a smooth, visually pleasing look, even if the animation is a little bit slower than the competition. So Samsung goes for fast, speedy launches, fast, speedy scrolling, while not being overly jarring. Still has an element of visual pleasing effect. But if you want a phone that just feels fast all the time through everything it does on the day-to-day, the Samsung is the one for you. You definitely will like that. And some people say, oh, just check that Samsung phone in 2 years. Bro, it's not 2015. Let me tell you, it's not 2016. It's not 2014. It's 2025. These phones do not slow down with regular use over 2 years. Keep your phone updated, restart it once in a while. This phone is going to fly throughout your ownership experience. Just ask some of the people in the comments about how their S23 Ultra, 4 Ultra are doing. They're going to tell you, still fine, no need to upgrade, runs amazing. So this is not the olden days. So definitely we're doing fine here. Performance long term. And the iPhone 16 Pro Max also going to do well here, as we know, but it never really feels like a super snappy fast phone like the S25 Ultra. It just feels powerful under the hood when it comes to the app optimization, when it comes to like starting to render videos. Then you really get to extract its power on the day-to-day. 9 months later, I would say that I've enjoyed the iPhone 16 Pro Max camera more, mostly because it performs better under social media. In addition to that, I do think that it's just more consistent with its results. I do like the way it processes photos a little bit better. If we go over here to video, it also has some of the best video out there. I don't know what I did there. Hold on, back it out. It has some of the best video on the planet. In addition, macro modes work well, and now iOS with the liquid glass has made it even more simple than ever before. They've added features in here, big buttons. Got to get used to that, but at the same time, you're looking at some of the best camera system on planet Earth. Now over here, we can say the same thing about having some of the best camera system on planet Earth as well. Over here with the Samsung. My only issue is sometimes the results to me appear a little bit too soft. You can change a lot of things in here though, but if you want a sharper photo, this one can produce it 200 megapixel if you're doing printouts and things of that sort. Also, the reach for this, I'm always grabbing a Samsung for the reach. It's why I always use Samsung and Apple, because if I got to go somewhere where I want more reach, of course, I'm grabbing the Samsung. There's no doubt about it. So if I go over here to Pro, you have Pro Video, Pro, Expert RAW, Night Mode, and again, the Swiss Army knife, all the tools right in here on the Samsung. The dual record is pretty cool as well, because you can use both cameras to record on here. And you can pick the lenses you want. You can pick ultra wide, you can pick the wide and telephoto. And that's just one example of what this is capable of. You can also monitor video and audio, and both of them do have that that AI feature where it can erase audio or kind of like fix the audio in the background. This one is going to showcase it right here in Galaxy AI right here. So audio erasing features. Apple did that first, I believe. But definitely both of them do have it. Samsung's camera layout to me is still better as a tool because everything is just a little bit easier in here to use, and the photo bar is a little bit lower. So definitely not disappointing me. I could use either and be pretty happy. I like the front-facing camera as well in Samsung a bit more than iPhone. But to me, there's no real king of those two areas, even though Samsung on paper looks so much better. It's the results to speak for themselves on the iPhone. So it's really like the king is going to be which one you like better for you. But I would say social media users, you'll like the iPhone more. Pro users who want to like really tinker and play around with the camera, they want to get the best fine-tuned result, and they want to play around with raw modes and all that stuff, Samsung is going to be the king there. Now, when it comes to heat and thermals, I got to say, I've been seeing some rumors about 17 Pro Max getting a vapor chamber. This one doesn't have it, but it was an improvement over the 15 Pro Max. Never gave me a substantial issue, but it did get a little bit warm under some heavy gaming, so I can't state that it beats the Samsung. The Samsung has better thermals, doesn't get as hot under real stress, and it's mostly down to its vapor chamber. This phone right here, so the Samsung has just better thermals. It does have a vapor chamber, Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy specifically overclocked and still efficient. So even though it's up the speed over some other Android phones, it's still very efficient. So I don't care what I'm doing on here. I can be multitasking, blazing through everything, playing PUBG on the side, split screen multitasking on another page, and the phone doesn't get hot. It just doesn't. I will say, if you start using a third-party charger while playing a game and plugged into an outlet, you might get a little bit warm. Or if you have your phone blazing and a heat wave in the window, you definitely could get probably some heat. Obviously, that's pretty obvious right there. But under real stress, the Samsung has tend to shine for me. Also, really like that landscape mode, has tend to shine for me over the iPhone. So I'd like to see Apple bring some more cooling to their upcoming iPhone 17 Pro Max. So 9 months later, the iPhone is a little bit frustrating when it comes to the charging speed. It's definitely a bit slow. So I want to make sure I always have enough battery to make it through my day as I start the day, because I know if I'm in a rush or I'm doing something, this phone is definitely going to drain before I need it. It's not going to charge as fast as I need it to charge. So this one, to me, disappointing. However, it does help it like retain a longer lasting maximum battery capacity. But for me, I think I'll take the trade-off of faster charging, which the Samsung does provide, but also doesn't impress me because it doesn't charge as fast as OnePlus. Now that phone impresses me, the OnePlus 13. That thing can charge crazy fast. This one over here, though, medium, that's the worst of the flagships. This is kind of medium. It's also reverse wireless charge. But this one, definitely of these two, months later, doesn't really aggravate me as much as the iPhone, because it does charge a good 20 watts faster, provided you have a 45 watt charger. So this one's a little frustrating. This one is a little bit slower than the fastest out there, but it's getting there. So I like to see faster charging, as long as they can pull it off in a way that doesn't destroy our batteries quickly in the future. Hopefully we get to that point. So when it comes to the app ecosystems, it's really down to what you like. I got both watches on here. We do have this for the video. I'm not going to wear this daily. If you're wondering, this guy wears two watches, one side, one other side. No, this is just to show that this example. But you'll see right here, the Apple Watch to me is still the best smartwatch out there. It's so refined. It's easy to use. The crown works great. It also has an amazing display on board, and it matches up well with the ecosystem. To me, if you're going to buy a smartwatch, Apple Watch is the move. Some people said that this watch, the Galaxy Watch Ultra, did copy the Apple Watch. I could see some influence, but it's kind of got this squircle kind of like design. I do like all the functionality that you can get with the Galaxy Watch. And if you like a more traditional circle look, you might prefer the Galaxy Watch Ultra, but they also have different tablets. They have the Galaxy Tablet Ultra. You can get the iPad Pro. Both of them have pen support. Both of them have the Samsung Buds Pro. You have the AirPods. The gap comes with the laptops, really. Windows laptop, and then you have Mac, which is really an icon. It's definitely really tightly integrated with iPhone. So yes, you can do things like quick share handoff on these devices. You do have really good integration with the Galaxy as well, but Apple does it better here. They still do in terms of the tight integration. Just look at iOS 26 across the liquid glass across the entire ecosystem. So they're still doing it a bit better there. But again, both of them do offer you up both of those ecosystems. I find that the AI features on the iPhone were not quite up to par with what we see on the Samsung, mostly because the Siri hasn't been upgraded to a level that we expected it to blow us away. That's the main thing. Playground, for some, is a gimmick. For others, it could be fun. But this is not that useful to me, honestly. Like generating a couple images to send in a message. It's really the Siri I want upgraded over here to be a lot more of an AI smart assistant. We do have quite a few Apple Intelligence things in here, though, like the ability to rewrite in messages. I like the ChatGPT extensions here. I also do like this new feature where if you hold down, you can ask questions as well. Take a screenshot. You can look up like circle to search. But circle to search is system wide. It's so easy. We just hold down here. Hold on. We just hold down. And you could just circle basically anything, anywhere, anytime. Hold down this button. Gemini is extremely smart. Then you have the Galaxy AI on board here. It's very polished and useful here. A lot of these tools are useful. So the Galaxy AI to me doesn't feel very beta. It feels ready to go. And it just feels like a much smarter phone when it comes to those features. So AI is just, to me, a much better and faster experience on the Galaxy. So if you're into AI, I think Apple is behind for sure. This is something over the several months I've been feeling like when I'm using the Galaxy, I'm just using a smarter phone. That's just something I feel like with these two. Both of them do apps great. But from AI perspective, Apple is a little bit behind here. So 9 months later, they've been doing well in terms of resale, but we're not talking about selling them now. But the iPhone just holds better value. So you kind of got to dump the Samsung before it gets too old or it really drops in value. So that's still one strong suit that Apple really has over this Samsung phone. It holds its value much longer. And so from a perspective of you want to upgrade and get a good trade-in value in the future, the iPhone has held its own. I could sell this phone right now for near what I paid for it. Even with that little scuff, I can probably get maybe $50 to $100 off of that because of that scuff, but I'm still going to get pretty close to what it costs. So definitely really good. So final verdict, 9 months later, if I could only keep one at this point, which one would it be? And the answer is I'd keep both. So I can't, you guys probably were expecting a specific one. That's what I'm doing. I'm keeping both. But of the two, the Samsung is the better phone to me. It's the better overall device, the total package. It is the newer device, so that makes sense. We'll have to revisit this comparison with the 17 Pro Max. But if I had to pick one for personal, I probably would stick with the iPhone because I can sell it for more later. But from a tech enthusiast perspective, the Samsung is the better phone, straight up. But it's been a really fun year comparing these. They've been some amazing devices. I cannot wait to see the Z Fold Ultra, or whatever they're going to call it, Z Fold 7 Ultra. We'll see whatever they call it. We also have the 17 series coming soon. And going in the summer, though, if you're picking one of these up, you can't lose. Let me know your thoughts on which you would pick down below in the comments section. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.